Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck, the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG deck lists. On today we have Jason, who brought his top 8 list, an Altergeist deck list, which he took to the Glasgow Regional, the infamous Farfa-owned regional, but of course Farfa was away this time around, and that meant a few things were changed up. So here's Jason's list. You can see it's got some pretty interesting stuff here, so let's just run through it pretty quickly. It's got the usual Altergeist lineup of the typical 10 monsters. He hasn't opted for the third Silcatus, which is fairly standard, I think. Triple Ash and then triple DD Crow here. This is a very interesting choice of hand trap to go with. Then we have the Extravagances, 2 Duality, the 2-in-1 trap ratio for the Altergeist traps, and then triple spoofing, of course, triple imperm, triple judgment, triple strike, 1 Blackhorn, this is pretty interesting, double compulse, and the 1 Imperial Order. So he hasn't opted to play the Solemn Warning, and he hasn't opted to play the other traps like Crackdown and Lost Wind. I think these are still sort of very niche traps to go with, so he's gone for the sort of more standard lineup, but then thrown a Blackhorn of Heaven in there, which is pretty nice too. For the extra deck, it's fairly standard, you know, triple Hextia, triple Link, the double Almirage, and then Super Poly targets with the double Starving Venom, and then the double Chimera and all that stuff, and the 1 Mega Fleet. For the side deck, triple No material, this is pretty interesting because Altergeist is the kind of deck where you want to control the game fairly strongly, so you have a lot of board presence throughout. So Gnome is really this kind of thing where you absolutely need to see it in your opening hand, so you have to max out on copies. And it's just because you have to beat so many random matchups like the Lunalight Orcus matchup, and you just don't want to lose to that, and you need to see a Gnome in your opening hand there. Double Pank, double Village, triple Super Poly, double Evenly, and triple Heavy Storm Dusters rounds off the side deck. So some really good options against back row decks here, which I think is quite interesting. So for his commentary, he said that DD Crow was really had really wide coverage. So that's why he decided to max out on this card. The Blackhorn was the 40th card in the deck. He knew he wanted it to be an extra trap, but he didn't like the other commonly played ones. Blackhorn is a slightly worse strike, but it hits the clutch extra deck summons, so the Nightmares, the Mirage Stellar, and the Sunlight Wolf, and the Striker Links, etc. All the things that really hurt you or enable your opponent to actually play the game. Gnome was designed just particularly for the Orcus, the Lunalight variants, and the problems with the Nyala Azathoth combo, which you just can't deal with otherwise. He thought the Super Poly was way too good not to play due to its wide coverage being really good going second, and interestingly Geist, you know, doesn't need to play through its links, so outside of getting the Meliseek Search with your Linkuriboh or your Almirage, and outside of your Hextia, there's not a lot that you need, so there's loads of extra deck space here. The rest of the side was pretty much just to address control matchups, which were the main problems that he hadn't built the main deck for. His matchups were a Salamangreat matchup, which he won in time, with Concrete being too good. Stopping Helio is too big for them to be able to attack over, and it negated Sanctuary, which really limits the opponent's options there. People just aren't used to playing when they can't resolve their Sanctuary effect. And then against Go Second Thunder, another win here. Got hit by Evenly a lot, but didn't lose too much to it each time, so he was able to just keep playing. And then generally this deck is a pretty decent matchup because, I mean, Silcatus says return a card to the hand, so that's a pretty good effect against this deck. Then against Go Second Pure Orcust, winning this by controlling the game fairly effectively. A loss to Cyber Dragon Orcust in the next round, a grindy 2-1 match. And then Trap Orcust, winning this, just to have a much better grind game. Pendulum, a loss here. He got to go first but in game 3, but unfortunately he bricked there, so just didn't have enough to be able to play through. Demise Striker, a win. Prior to the round, he told the TOs that he would eat a little paper cup of mayonnaise if he lost, so he really didn't want to lose this one, and he was just able to snowball really well and use the Hextia effectively in order to take the win here. So next to record, landing him a position in top 8, very well deserved there. In terms of side decking, he didn't really have a comprehensive side deck plan, he said, but he had a rough idea. So for against Striker, when you go first, you want to like take out the Compulsors and stuff, and the Crows, they're not super useful. You get to put in the Dusters there and the Villagers, which is very good against them. When you're going second against them though, again, Compulsors and Crows, and the Horn comes out actually as well, which can be really good when you're going first, but they're probably going to get rid of it otherwise. And then you put in the even leaves, the Pankratops, and the villagers. Anyway, villagers are just so strong in this matchup. For against the Orcus variants, when you're going second, you take out the Compulsors, the Blackhorn, 2 of the Crows, 1 Order, and you put in the Super Polys and the Gnomes, of course. For the other matchups, he just kind of winged it, basically. In terms of changes that he'd make moving forward, he might think he might rethink the Super Polys. Siding with it in Geist is kind of awkward because you generally have to side out your traps. It's definitely very powerful though, and it's one of these things where he's been going back and forth on it, so we'll just have to see how he moves forward with that. As for why he decided to play Altergeist, he said that he went with it because it's just the deck that he is absolutely the most comfortable with. So thanks very much for coming on, Jason, and sharing your list. Congratulations on making top 8 at the Glasgow Regional with Altergeist. What do you guys think of this list? Has it been inspired by another YouTuber, or do you think he's taken an original spin on this particular deck and shown it off to the best of his ability? What changes would you guys make? And stay tuned for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Top Deck content and competitive videos. Thanks for watching this episode of Top Deck. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, leave them in the comment section down below. Check out the description for details of how you can get involved in this series. You can enter by voice interview, or instead you could just send all of your information over Facebook Messenger. Anything like that will be absolutely fine. If you want to see anything in particular from the upcoming series, then be sure to get in touch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.